Well, hello, City Church. My name is Teresa Great, and I'm here with Pastor Mary. And she spoke this week for our Glad You Asked Part 2, answering the questions, how do Christians engage in politics? And she had three main points, and I'll read those to you. The first one was engage politics with humility, not arguments. The second point was engage each other with love, not hate. And then the third one was engage everything with perspective, not fear. So I thought we would kind of start off by just asking you, was there anything you didn't feel like you got to expand on as much as you wanted in this week's sermon?
Sort of alluded to it in the sermon, but I didn't get to talk too much about Jesus and how he responded to political questions. So in Matthew 22, the Pharisees are starting to quiz Jesus, and they met together just to plot how to trick him. And they come to him and say, "Teacher, we know how honest you are. You teach the way of God truthfully. You are impartial and don't play favorites. Now tell us what you think about this. Is it right to pay taxes to Caesar or not?" That's a government issue there. And Jesus knew their evil motives, and he said, "You hypocrites, why are you trying to trap me? Here, show me the coin used for the tax." And they handed him the coin, and he said, "Whose picture is stamped on it? Caesar's. Well, then give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar's, and God what belongs to God." And he just went ahead and answered a question with a question, and he dealt with it very gracefully but very forcefully in ways that we may not be able to fully do that in love. I don't know that I could confront someone like that and still be loving. But here he got it down to the base issue, which was, there's a part that's owed to the government, and then there's a part that's owed to God. We even talked about that a little bit in the series where we're talking about Daniel. I mean, Daniel went ahead and did what was necessary. He was trying to be obedient to the government. They passed this law that he couldn't follow. And so rather than fighting it, he did what he had to do, and he accepted the penalty. So sort of along those same lines. It's not that you're meant to fight government and rise up in the streets, and hey, if people do that, they do that. But really the biblical example we're looking at is do what you need to do for the government, do what you need to do for God. And if there's a conflict, we're going to choose God.
Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking through is for those who maybe don't actively engage in politics, what should their response be to this conversation? Like, I don't really care who's running for office. Why do I need to listen to the sermon, and or what should their takeaway be?
Yeah, I think there's two sides to that coin. I think the first thing I would say is this isn't even really necessarily about politics. It's about having difficult conversations with people. I had someone who came up to me after and said, "I'm having a difficult situation at work, and I'm going to take these principles into that." So it wasn't even politics. So a lot of it is just conversationally a relationship. These are great principles regardless, because we all have sticky subjects in our lives, and it may not have anything to do with politics. So you can use that. But then also there is an aspect of we're affected by the things that our government does. So there is a part of you want to stay informed. And even if it's not that you're going to have a debate with people or you're going to have conversations, probably it's a good idea for you to be informed about the issues, even at just a base level, so you can pray. Or so that you can vote with a more informed way. Because it is important, as we said in Proverbs, for upright people to be a part of this process. And it's up to you. You don't have to do that, but it is something important to at least consider at the very baseline to be able to pray for your city and to know what's going on.
Yeah. One of the things we were kind of talking about before we started recording was anybody who has social media is a part of the conversation, whether they like it or not. Like they'll see stuff, they'll engage with things, and even having a biblical understanding of what the word says about topic XYZ, and that is how you engage. So.
And I think it is important, and I tried to stress it yesterday without making too much of it, that there are good Christian people on both sides of every issue, and you can't just assume, well, this is the Christian way or that's the Christian way, and that's tricky. That is a difficult way to look at things. People might be on one side of it, just to get spicy, one side of the abortion debate because they believe that they are protecting the life of the child, and others on this side protecting the life of the mother. They both feel like they're protecting life in different ways, and I think it's just important not to demonize one another, but just maybe to be able to have a conversation humbly, gently, and with love.
Why do you think we took the time as a church to give this question airspace?
It's a good question. I think part of it is as I said, we're going to be entering into election season and it's getting ahead of it. Right now, we don't feel it as much. Maybe you see a few signs or things, but it's going to crop up and it's going to become a big part of the conversation around you.
Yeah.
Whether or not you want to engage with it, it's going to engage with you.
Yeah.
Whether it's because you're watching TV and you see the ads or you get the mail or you see it on Facebook, it just can get a little crazy. So I think it's good ahead of time to prepare yourself for the conversations that may be going on around you. And again, you can not engage with any of them, but at least you have the setup for that. As well as, and honestly, this wasn't originally the plan, it kind of just worked out this way, it's right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And whether or not it's political, there can be a lot of strange and difficult conversations that come up with family members maybe you haven't seen for a while. So just to be able to empower us to be able to have those conversations, whether it's next week or over the next year.
Yeah. Well, is there anything you didn't get to say that you'd like to say?
Wow. I think we've covered quite a bit, but I guess I really want to encourage people as far as that perspective piece and just keeping in perspective throughout our whole life that there are parts of our life that are parts of our life. You know, politics as part of our life. It comes up once in a while we have to vote and topics come up. But every day in our life, we need to engage with people about the future. You know, whether it's because they don't know about Jesus or they're engaged in some type of fear about the future, to be able to have a good understanding of why it matters that we are on this walk of faith and where we are headed. We don't need to fear the end of days because we have a security in our relationship with God, what Jesus has done for us. I just think that's really encouraging for everyone when there are difficult times to be able to rely on that and not look at maybe the prophetic parts of the Bible, like Revelation, that seem a little strange, but to be able to engage them for what they are, which is an encouragement that the end is not the end, but it's only the beginning with the new heavens and the new earth where we get to enjoy our relationship with God as it was meant to be.
Yeah. Well, something I really appreciated, you ended your sermon by giving us 4 questions to ponder. So I'm going to ask those questions now. So whether you've already done it or maybe you're getting a chance now, think about these things that correlate with her message. The first one was, am I being humble and gentle? And then, is my motivation love? Is my engagement with this issue based in fear? And how does this issue affect someone as a citizen of heaven? So as you go, I hope you will check out some of the bonus content or additional resources that we've provided, and we'll keep building on that list as the weeks go on.